at 9.
Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your primetime news bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Nicola De Zoiza. Let's start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
The headlines on Newsfirst at 9.
Samurdhi welfare payments must be reduced. A statement from the Prime Minister in Parliament. Budget of the Alawa Pradeshya Sabha defeated for the second time. Clashes at a demonstration held in Trincomalee in view of Human Rights Day. Thousands gathered to bid farewell to Nelson Mandela.
Newsfirst at 9.
On to your stories in detail now. A demonstration held in Trincomalee today to coincide with International Human Rights Day came under attack.
The demonstration was organized by the committee to investigate missing persons.
The demonstration commenced at around 11 a.m. today opposite the Trincomalee bus stand. An Eastern Provincial Councillor from the Tamil National Alliance and a member from the Muttur Pradeshya Sabha also joined the demonstration. They urged that their missing relatives be found. An individual who arrived at the scene of the demonstration requested that the demonstration be stopped as it disrupted the peace in the area. Several police officers were present when the unrest ensued. Our correspondent said that the Muttur Pradeshya Sabha member who joined the demonstration has been hospitalized. The police are carrying out investigations into the incident.
Meanwhile, here in Colombo, views were expressed on the human rights situation in Sri Lanka at an event organized in view of International Human Rights Day by the Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission.
Human rights are not based on any legislation. It's not a right given to you by statute. It is a birthright of every individual, and a person becomes entitled to human rights on the date he is born and sees the light of day. You might be the president of a country, you might be the beggar on the street. Each one human being is entitled to rights which are called human rights. We must necessarily celebrate International Human Rights Day to reaffirm our commitment and to protect and promote human rights. Indeed, it is an obligation on the part of every government to guarantee the rights of all citizens and even non-citizens.
So you protected our right and you give us the freedom from fear. But, again a small but, don't make it so that the people begin to fear you or fear the police. So what I think as a citizen I would ask is, please do your duty to protect people and don't go that other step and become that powerful that you don't mind so much what happens to people through your own work and what you do. If you have a criminal, actually he's a criminal, but criminals have to have a fair trial. But are we as a society now getting used to saying, don't go through all of that? That's a waste of time. If you catch a criminal, just shoot him dead. And that's a dreadful thing. I wouldn't want that happen to my child or myself even. I was quite fascinated by the fact that when I read these stories and then asked my barber, the chap came to cut my hair, and I asked him, what do you think of this? He said, Honda Vade sir, unta oka thamai denna ona. Why are we so determined that there must be an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth? If somebody attacks you, you kill him.
Our constitution does not list the right to life as a fundamental right. It was there in 1972, but in 1978 it only included the right to thought and conscience. It was left out of the 78 Constitution. As per a verdict of the Supreme Court in 2003, it was determined that as per Article 13, Section 4 of our Constitution, any harm caused to life or thought outside of legal action is to be considered a violation of a fundamental right. International Human Rights Day was declared on the 10th of December 1948 by the adoption of the United Nations Universal Declaration on Human Rights. Sri Lanka ratified the convention in 1955 when it gained membership of the UN. The theme of this year's Human Rights Day is Working for Your Rights.
In a statement posted on its website, the European Union delegation to Sri Lanka says there have been significant improvements since the end of the conflict here, particularly on resettlement and physical reconstruction.
In its statement released in view of International Human Rights Day, the EU delegation encouraged the government to take further action to implement the recommendations in the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission report in order to ensure justice and meaningful reconciliation. The statement notes that further challenges also remain in upholding the independence and effectiveness of the judiciary and the rule of law, strengthening freedom of expression, taking effective action to end religious intolerance, and preventing sexual abuse of women and children. The EU says it continues to stand ready to offer assistance to the Sri Lankan government to help it address and overcome these challenges in order to help build a better and brighter future for all Sri Lankans.
For a comprehensive report on International Human Rights Day, log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk.
And with that, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Welcome back to the news.
The African National Congress Party Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa opened the memorial service for Nelson Mandela today inside the Soweto FNB Stadium by thanking guests who had travelled from all over the world, saying they had come together to mark the end of Mandela's long walk.
A large number of heads of state from all parts of the world were in attendance at the memorial.
This long walk is over, but ours is only beginning.
Emotions ran high during the address of Cyril Ramaphosa, Deputy President of the African National Congress, during the memorial service of late Nelson Mandela. Thousands braved the adverse weather and flocked to the stadium to bid farewell to their hero. Mandela's widow, Gasa Marshall, was seen sitting chairs away from his former wife, Winnie Mandela, for the service. A military band began the proceedings by playing the national anthem, which saw people in the stands smiling and dancing before Ramaphosa took to the stage to open the memorial service.
We have more than 100 countries represented here today, easily representing billions of people around the world who are bidding farewell to Nelson Mandela.
Many world leaders have flocked to the memorial service from across the world to bid farewell to this remarkable human being. President Mahinda Rajapaksa also attended the memorial service today.
He taught by example. He sacrificed so much and was willing to give up everything here for freedom and equality, for democracy and justice.
We will never see the likes of Nelson Mandela again. But let me say to the young people of Africa and the young people around the world, you too can make his life work your own. And while I will always fall short of Madiba's example, he makes me want to be a better man.
Nelson Mandela, you will be forever remembered.
We must use time wisely and forever realize that the time is always ripe to do right. Nelson Mandela, former South African president.
Speaking at an event held at the Sirisunanda Mahavihara in Delhi at the Tangol today, UNP parliamentarian Sajith Premadasa said that he is very able when it comes to facing challenges.
It is surprising that today certain people are speaking of removing people from the party and not including people. On one hand, they are making a request of me to come to the Leadership Council. On the other hand, they say that if I do not come, they will cut me off and discard me. I wish to say one thing very clearly. I am not a person that listens to the various threats made by various people. I always think of the path to make the party victorious. I will never support the political drama of standing for those who are continuously defeated but cling on to their positions and warm their seats. I speak the truth. I speak the truth as it is. As my father said, the truth will win someday. No council that is appointed will be of any use if they do not do good for the party. My father is a people's leader who sacrificed his eyes, head, flesh, blood and bones for the party. He sacrificed his life for this party. He got onto the streets and he knew the scent of the sweat of the people and he was among them. As he sacrificed his life, I am happy to state at this moment that his son too is prepared to sacrifice his life for this party.
Addressing a convention of the Sri Lanka Nidahas Sevaka Sangamaya in Maharagama today, Prime Minister D.M. Jayaratne said that he has never made money through corruption or fraud.
I went to prison on behalf of the ordinary man. Other than for that, I have never been in the wrong or committed any act of fraud or thievery. No one can say that I took bribes or that I was corrupt and made money. I have never done anything of the sort and I have never made money in my life in this way. I will not falter. I am not a man who falters. I have sacrificed the Prime Ministership on 3 occasions. That is the sort of man I am. I am an individual who acts in this way.
Joining the committee stage debate on the 2014 budget in Parliament today, Prime Minister D.M. Jayaratne commented on the Samurdhi welfare program.
We must teach them to work hard and tirelessly and earn money. We are giving them Samurdhi support on a monthly basis. This is not a good thing. I have ordered that this be gradually reduced. This is what is happening in Sri Lanka. People are begging for everything. They are asking for everything to be given for free.
The expenditure heads of the Ministries of Traditional Industries and Small Enterprise Development, Industry and Commerce were taken up for debate in Parliament today.
The open economy has been introduced and the factories and industries in the public sector were sold to foreigners. They were given on lease or shut down. I think it is because of these actions that the industrial sector in Sri Lanka was turned upside down.
Are there even 5 industries that you were able to initiate in the northern province?
We are building minor factories in Jaffna, Mullaitivu, Mana and Vaunia. We are producing shoes. It's a minor industry.
According to what he says, there is an industrial zone that has been established in Achuveli. The other thing is that they have started making flip-flops for 6,000 rupees. How are you going to ensure that you make the community there support local industries, considering the uniqueness of the north, the resources and the human resources?
Speaking during the budget debate yesterday, MP Rosie Senayaka expressed the following views.
A question that must be raised is if anything is being done through this budget for the women working in the apparel industry. The gravest problem today is that as per the United Nations Human Development Report, when it comes to gender inequality, Sri Lanka is ranked 74th from among 185 countries.
අපි 74 වෙනි තැනට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.